Alright guys, welcome back to another Opera Omnia video where we're going to be talking about Fran, who's going to be getting her rework and her LD weapon with the upcoming story update. We're going to be talking about her LD ability and that debuff that basically gets an upgrade from what she originally had with her skills, because as you know, the Vieira's punishment debuff only had a max stacks of 5, but with the LD ability it goes to 10 stacks, and those extra 5 stacks really do inflict the enemy with some nasty debuffs in one frame debuffs. So we're going to be talking about all of that in this video. So as always, if you guys do enjoy the video, consider liking the video and subscribing for future Opera Omnia content. Let's go ahead and jump into it, guys. Let's talk about her rework, her LD ability, and whether or not it is worth pulling for. So we'll first start off with Fran's rework. So her Pharaoh strike ability gets an additional 2 uses. Its brave potency per hit was increased to 30%, and it now allows for 150% stolen max brave overflow. Now, with the plus version to it, while Vieira's punishment debuff is at 5 stacks, it now turns into a 4-hit melee or range, brave plus an HP attack 3 times with brave potency of 33% for the first 8 hits and then 35% for the last 4 hits. Now when it comes to her other skill, which is the whip kick extension, so with this ability she gains an additional 2 uses now, and it does get an increase in brave potency of 25% per hit, and it also allows for 150% stolen max brave overflow. Then when it comes to the plus version, the plus version will now be a random hit ranged brave plus an AoE HP attack 4 times with a brave potency of 33% per hit, and it deals split HP damage. Now this attack also inflicts a attack down by 10% to all targets for 4 turns, and a magic attack down by 10% to all targets for 4 turns. And after you use her ability, her HP attack changes to HP attack plus, which is only a 1-hit ranged brave plus an HP attack. Her LD ability called Celestial Raid is now a 4-hit AoE ranged brave plus a single target HP attack dealt 3 times with a brave potency of 90% per hit. Now this LD ability inflicts 3 stacks of Vieira's punishment to all enemies for 6 turns. But not only that, with having her LD ability equipped, you are now able to pass the 5 stacks and go into the 10 stacks. So Vieira's punishment basically got a big upgrade. So as long as you have this LD ability maxed out, you add 5 more levels to it. So at 6 stacks, actually no, let's quickly go through the first 5 stacks. So the first 5 stacks has defense down, attack down, max brave down, magic attack down, aim and range resist down. So that way Fran is able to deal weakness damage, which will benefit her as greatly. So then with the LD ability adding 5 more stacks, at 6 stacks she adds a 10% speed down, 7 stacks a 20% brave damage resist down. At 8 stacks you get a 15% HP damage resist down. And when it says resist down, it's basically like it's like the enemy's versions of like of them taking that extra brave damage. So brave resist down means that you're going to be dealing more brave damage, and then the HP damage resist down means that you're gonna deal more HP damage. It's almost like you have HP damage like on you, but really it's like on the enemy, if you get what I'm saying. At 9 stacks it adds brave gains down by 40%, and then at 10 stacks it adds more defense down, more attack down, more max brave down, more magic attack down, more speed down, more brave damage resist down. So now it'll be a 40% instead of the 20%. More HP damage resist down. So now it'll be 30% instead of 15%. And more brave gains down, being a total of 80%. It is a very strong debuff from her LD ability. And well, not really from her LD ability, but really she's getting a big upgrade just by adding these 5 additional stacks from her LD ability. And also, whenever you do fully max out her LD ability, you grant yourself the Brave Attack ++. Now, normally I don't talk about call abilities because I actually tend to forget a lot of times. But in this instance, I do want to mention Fran's call ability because the percentages, when you compare them to the actual percentages, if you do have Fran on the field, they are different. They're not the exact same, but the percentages are still pretty decent. So when you take example, the 7 stacks, you get that Brave damage resist down by 5%, and then once you reach 10 stacks, it'll be 10%. You can see that there was a pretty big difference between both of them, being that if you do have Fran on the field, then you actually have a difference of like what, roughly 20 30%, if I can do, no, 30%. So just to note for you guys, so for those, because I have seen a lot of comments in the community saying that she is more of a call ability than using her on the field or on your team comps. Do note that the percentages are very much different between both her call ability and having her on the field. Now, I have seen some JP gameplay. I have seen some JP players use Fran as a friend support because they want to be able to take advantage of all of these higher percentages than what you would get if you use her as a call ability. So that is one option to do. I know it sounds silly to have let's say Fran as a character, as a friend support, but you'd actually be surprised how much more effective it is if you do bring a strong team comp, and if you bring Fran as a friend support and bring her in just for her debuff and to get those maximum percentages, you'd actually be surprised how many players I've seen in JP actually do that. So, you know, it's an option for you guys to do if you don't wish to use her as a call ability. So now we get to the point in the video where you guys decide whether or not it is actually worth pulling from Fran's LD weapon based on what you've already heard so far. So there's really not much for me to say in terms of Fran, just because like most of the important stuff that I covered was pretty much just said. I mean, the fact that once you get her LD ability and you max it out and you're able to go past the 5 stacks, you saw that they add so much into that 1 frame debuff, and it's one of the reasons why a lot of players are going to be pulling for her, because not only could she be used as one of your characters in your team comps, but she can also be used as a call ability. But that's why I also mentioned that the percentages are a bit different between using her as a call ability and using her in your actual team comp, which is why I suggested, and based off of what I have seen in some of the other JP players that I know of who have used Fran in the past before, they have used her as a friend support and try their best to not try their best, but really to get her to the max stacks, and then pretty much just use C65 to get her out the field as quickly as possible and switch back to the original character that they had. I've seen a couple players do that. I believe Stimpy does have a few gameplays where he has done that, and I have actually seen a few other Japanese players, but that's an option for you guys in case you think that, oh, you feel like her call ability is underwhelming. Then you can actually try that. If you have somebody who you know that did pull for Fran and wouldn't mind sharing their friend Fran, then that, you know, there you go. You have an option to do that. But other than that, though, I mean, like for players who love to inflict debuffs, who want to add more on top of the already debuffs that you are or have been inflicting so far, then Fran's LD ability is actually one to consider, because of the fact that you have so much condensed into 1 debuff, and a frame debuff at that. So I mean, that's really mainly the only thing that I can say would be like a big pro about her. I mean, when it comes to like say damage, for those who are curious about damage, you know, in my opinion, her damage is pretty average. It's not like top tier damage, but I mean, like, really the thing about Fran is that, like, you know, for her being, I guess, like She's more, yeah, she's more of a debuffer than I would say utility. But as a debuffer, then you know, just having that adding on top of what you already do to the enemies would be a big benefit, especially if you do have characters in your team comps that are ranged. Because remember, Fran's Vieira's punishment debuff does have that range resist down, so you know that will also help out your range users in dealing weakness damage. So you know, there's some stuff to consider on it. She does come back with a C90 later on. Her C90 just gives her like extra HP dumps. It doesn't do, if I'm not mistaken, I don't believe it does any type of change to her to the debuff, if I'm not mistaken. If it does, I'm gonna double check myself. If it does, I'll correct myself in a pinned comment. If you don't see one, then yeah, I was right. But other than that, I mean, like, that's pretty much it. You're really just using Fran, in my opinion, as as somebody who has a strong debuff to inflict onto the enemies. But other than that, though, guys, that's pretty much it. There's really not much for me to say about Fran, other than just mainly focusing on that debuff and you guys knowing those percentage differences between having her on the team and having or using her as a call ability. Other than that, though, guys, if you guys did enjoy the video, consider liking the video and subscribing for future Opera Omnia content. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you guys in my next video.